Well, hello and welcome to Bingewatch, the podcast where we take a look at the hottest new TV and film releases on streaming television platforms. I'm Hannah Fernando, the group editor of Woman and Woman and Home magazine.
And I'm Ian McEwen, writer on TV Times, What's on TV, TV and Satellite Week and whatstowatch.com. And today we're looking at the new releases that will be available on Friday the 23rd of May 2025, including Rose Ayling-Ellis, Andrew Buchan and Charlotte Ritchie teaming up to bring down a criminal gang in ITVX thriller Code of Silence, and Julianne Moore and Kevin Bacon as a wealthy married couple in the dark Netflix comedy Sirens.
And we'll also be checking out the return of musical sitcom The Horne Section on Channel 4 streaming and getting a taste of La Dolce Vita with culinary travelogue Tucci in Italy on Disney. But first, Ian, tell me, what is in the news, please?
Netflix is adapting Laura Ingalls Wilder's memoir Little House on the Prairie, which, I remember this, it was previously made into a popular TV series starring Melissa Gilbert and Michael Landon in the 1970s and 80s. What else is in the news, Hannah?
Well, a sequel to Apple TV World War II film Greyhound is reportedly due to start filming next year, with none other than Tom Hanks writing the script and reprising his role as US Navy Commander Captain Krause.
The chef has for you this week a sort of travelogue stroke cookery show. We have a very dark comedy, we have a crime drama, and we have a musical sitcom. So come on, there's something for everyone, surely. We're going to start on ITV1 and ITVX with a new crime drama which arrived on Sunday. It's called Code of Silence. And here's a clip.
We're watching a gang who are planning a robbery. They're always careful to meet in places where we can't bug them.
That's why we need a lip reader. Who is that?
What's your name?
Ian. That's his name.
The gang are meeting in a bar not far from here.
The Canterbury Tap.
Alison, have you been working at the bar?
Can I tell you a secret?
So this has been quite eagerly anticipated. You'll see it's on the covers of a couple of the TV listings mags, including our own TV Times. Code of Silence, it stars Rose Ayling-Ellis, who, of course, won Strictly, didn't she? And is a fine actor. Well, she plays a canteen worker in a Canterbury police station who is recruited as a lip reader to help out in an investigation into a criminal gang who are suspected of planning a heist. So it co-stars, well, Andrew Buchan, who I love, from Broadchurch, Charlotte Ritchie from Ghosts. They are the police officers on the case. They're both very good. Alison is the name of Rose's character. It creates Alice's world, the way she kind of experiences the world by putting sort of jumbled up letters on screen as she's lip reading, and then the words form as she's figuring out what's being said, because she's shown like CCTV and spy camera footage, and the police, obviously they can't hear what's on this footage, but they need her to lip read what the gang is saying to each other. So it's quite clever, and there's sort of soundscapes of what she can hear, and essentially she's fed up with being underestimated because she is deaf, and she's very keen to prove herself, but her keenness, well, you will find out, could it prove her undoing, because she decides to sort of make contact with a member of the gang called Liam. He's played by Julianne Moore, who's also very good, and then it starts to get complicated. But yeah, I think this is, I mean, Rose is excellent. She's such a good actor. She's brilliant in this. And it's just something very different, this whole lip reading, forensic lip reading area. I think it's good. I've watched the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think I'd like to see this character come back, because there's a sort of teaser at the end that could open it up for more. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. I would recommend. What did you think, Hannah?
Yes, it's really good, isn't it? I mean, lots of people will know Rose from Strictly Come Dancing, and then of course she had and was in EastEnders as well. And what's really nice about this is kind of shining a light on people who are deaf, really. And it's interesting to kind of see how in this she felt that she was overlooked. She felt that sort of, she was pigeonholed, if you like. And then she finds herself in a situation where she can do what other people can't do. And that's lip read, essentially. And she puts herself in harm's way. I think she's a really likeable character, isn't she, generally, in everything she plays. And I think that's partly because we got to know her so well through those weeks of Strictly. And I think it's really hard for anybody who's a Strictly fan particularly, and even if you're not, you'd have had to be under a rock not to have been kind of moved by some of those performances that she made. And this just shows how versatile she is and what she can do, because sometimes after big shows like that, it doesn't always go that well, does it? And it certainly is for her, and for good reason. So yeah, definitely worth a watch.
Well, newly arrived on Netflix, we have the comedy drama series Sirens. And here's a clip.
There's a transient person at the house asking for you. She's carrying hot garbage. She says she's your sister.
No. I told you Dad got diagnosed with early onset dementia, and you said a fruit basket!
Welcome, ladies. Sips and nibbles are in the back.
What is this place? And why does everyone look like an Easter egg?
Well, it's a comedy drama, but it's also quite creepy, isn't it, Ian, I think? So this is a drama. It unfolds over Labour Day weekend. And this it's a lovely setting, by the way. This house is absolutely incredible where it sort of starts. And this wealthy group of guests come to this beachside house for a charity gala. Loads of money, rolling in cash. And it's run by this conservation organisation. But the woman, Michaela, who's known by everybody else as Kiki, who's played by Julianne Moore, she's this kind of wellness guru. And it's like a cult. It's probably the only way to explain it, where everybody has to do what she says. And she's got this kind of like steely behaviour about her. And she has this assistant who just totally adores her. And you actually, as this goes on, you kind of wonder what happens in someone's past that they feel so lucky to be around someone like Kiki, if you like. There must have been something in her past that makes her want to be so subservient, I suppose. And they all turn up for this charity gala, and at the same time, a waitress turns up. It happens to be Kiki's assistant's sister. Now, she's totally chaotic. So Kiki's really well dressed, does everything she's supposed to do. As I say, is absolutely in adoration of Kiki, her boss. And she comes along, and Devon, the sister, who's really quite chaotic immediately, and so completely different but incredibly likable, just think she's been brainwashed. And you kind of see over the show that you kind of see that the relationship unpicked of the past, of why they've got to where they've got to. There's upset. There's a bit of everything actually in here, but it's really quite sinister, because I think we've all kind of explores sort of the relationship. Well, this is how I saw it anyway. The relationship between women often and their bosses, and what we will agree to do. And I say women because I think it's quite pertinent. And actually, you just go along with things very often and don't ever stand up for anything. You're almost like, how often we thought we're lucky to have a job, and that's not just women, I appreciate. But you see the whole kind of relationship, and Kiki says, I'm not a monster, but actually her behaviour sort of suggests otherwise. Or what is she doing? What is a spell that she's got over everybody? So it's kind of got this sort of sinister side to it, even though it has got some really quite funny parts too. I did quite enjoy it. Is it my thing? Not really sure that it is. But it's lightish entertainment, I would say. What do you think, Ian?
I really liked episode 1. I thought it was great. So yeah, as you say, you got the two sisters, and sort of the jumping off point is that Devon, who is a complete car crash, really, she's all over the show, and she's highly unpredictable. She's a loose cannon. She's fed up with looking after the dad, and so she goes to visit the sister in this amazing home, just to say, look, you've got to do your part. You've got to help out. And it's so the last thing her sister Simone wants is Devon turning up. So she tries to kind of lock her away, but of course she starts mingling with the guests, and she's sort of saying, "This looks like a cult. Are you in a cult?" And it's got that White Lotus thing of, you know, the very rich, obnoxious people, and then the sort of staff who are working behind the scenes, and their view of these dreadful folk. So yeah, I thought it was terrific, and I will watch the rest. New to Channel 4 streaming, we have a second series of The Horne Section. And here's a clip.
I'm a musician, just like you guys.
No, you're not. You're a lemon.
How dare you? Go get him, Tiger.
Sometimes the first thing I do when I wake up is go to sleep.
You know, I've learned to big box recently. I can chuck you down some pure beats.
Please tell me they're not planning on making music.
Speaking of music, let's play some. Hit it.
Sorry, Reggie, you can't really do that here.
Well, I'm going to start with my Greg Davis impression. It's Little Alex Horne. Yes, it is Little Alex Horne from Taskmaster, who has been in the band The Horne Section for a very long time. In fact, the other members of the band he met when he was at primary school. Would you believe that? So yes, you may remember they did have a first series, and there's been quite a long gap between seasons 1 and 2. If you've not seen The Horne Section, I mean, Alex Horne, he's not particularly a singer, but he is the front man, and they just play funny, silly songs, but they are actually really, really accomplished musicians as well. So this is supposedly, it's sort of set in Alex's home, and you see the band rehearsing, and there are various sort of celebrities making guest appearances. I mean, John Oliver, the brilliant John Oliver, is a regular, appearing just on Zoom because obviously he's over in America. You've got choir master Gareth Malone guesting in episode 1, and yes, he is wearing a leotard. You've got Tim Key, and you've got lots of funny, silly songs about all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So I'm just glad something like this is on, because, I mean, you know, especially it's Channel 4 and it's a lot of kind of middle-aged white men. So you're like, I'm surprised this got commissioned, but it's fun. Alex Horne is, and I love the kind of version of himself he plays, which is this very kind of downtrodden Alex, and everyone's telling him that he's not a proper musician. And yeah, it's just, I love comedy songs anyway, and that we've got a great tradition of the comedy song in this country, haven't we? Dating. In fact, I had a chat with Alex Horne, and he said that, you know, he grew up loving Bill Bailey, and The Blues Brothers was his favourite film. So yeah, I think we all need a bit more silly in our lives, don't we? So I'm pleased to see it back, and yeah, they're playing at Glastonbury this year. So yeah, check them out. Hannah, does this tickle your funny bone or any other bone?
Oh, it is quite funny, isn't it, Ian? You made me laugh when you say you just kind of wondered how, was it male, pale and stale? But it's not stale, is it? It's really quite funny. And I don't know, it shouldn't work, but it does work. And it does tickle my funny bone. And I think largely because there is some ability here, some very good ability here. That's the point, isn't it? And I just like the journey that they're on, really, and going on with them. It's great.
Well, we're going to finish over on Disney Plus with a new 5-part series called Tucci in Italy. And here's a clip.
I'm Stanley Tucci, and I believe that the best way to understand what makes a country and its people unique is through their food. Okay, mangiamo. And this is true nowhere more than Italy.
Is it secret?
Oh, really? Because it's going to go on television, and then, you know.
Yes, so this follows on from the success of his BBC Two series, of course, and Stanley Tucci is back. This is on Disney Plus and the National Geographic, and it definitely does have a place on National Geographic, because I can tell you the backdrop is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. You just want to be there, and quite often get irritated at foodie type programs, because when they're trying everything, all the noises, it's kind of like, I don't know what it's called, that phobia of people eating. I just don't like it, the sound of the eating anyway,
the smacking sound.
Yeah, I don't like it, but somehow on this it's okay, because it's just every everything he eats you want to eat too. It just all looks so incredible, and the way they filmed this, and so essentially it follows Stanley in Italy, and he looks at the connection between the Italian cuisine, the culture, and the landscape, but across 5 very different regions, and what it means to them and how important food is. Now, I'm married to someone who's half Italian, and I know how important food is to their culture, probably more so than most. And it sums everything that they do up. They're so passionate about it, and you can really sense that in here. So the way the pasta has been made in different regions, everything is different, and it's all just, obviously you're not tasting it, but you feel like you are. It just feels so exquisite. And I've used that word once before, and you say everyone loves a journey, but it's a learning journey, isn't it? This of learning all about the different reasons, the history of this, and he's quite good value, Stanley Tucci. I think he's quite funny in places. He's quite sort of he's not too worthy, which I think is important, and he's completely sold into this. He wants to do this, and you can feel his passion as well. So, for foodies, you'll love it. For those who want to see places of Italy they haven't seen and just want to dream of going on holiday there, it's also for you. I really enjoyed what I've seen so far. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, it does make you want to visit Italy, doesn't it? I mean, he's already made one series about Italy, and I think he's done a book as well. And I think everyone has agreed that Stanley Tucci is a good egg. And so he's gone sort of beyond. I mean, he's a brilliant character actor anyway, but now he's someone who we know as a sort of personality, as a celebrity as well, because of things like this. And episode 1, I mean, it started off, he went to like a Michelin-starred restaurant, and it's one of those restaurants where they do the dreaded tweezer cooking, where they like tweeze it. And he's in the kitchen, and the chefs are making all these things, and he's having to say how amazing they are, which I always find a bit, cringy, because he's not going to say, "Oh, that's revolting." But then it gets more interesting, because he visits a place that comes up with recipes for there's this chain of sort of motorway service stations in Italy, but they serve up the most delicious food, and he's trying like a sort of vegan ragu and seeing them inventing that. He also visits a sort of fish farm where they sort of harvest caviar from the sturgeon. That was quite interesting. So, and he's just very charming and an excellent presenter. And he's got that. He's just got a bit like Rick Stein. He's a pleasure to watch, and you can see that he really charms everyone that he meets. And of course, he can speak Italian as well, which certainly helps. So I think a nice mix of travel and delicious food. Well, we've got to that time, Hannah. We find out what the hell you've been binge watching this week.
Well, I'm not massively a fan of this, but everybody at work is talking about it. I feel like I'm missing something. But basically the Molly May. You know Molly May? She's the biggest influencer. Molly May behind it all. Second series. You get a kind of a snapshot into her life. There was the whole thing about her breaking up with her boyfriend. They had a baby together. It's made headlines. I needed to get on board. I needed to feel young, Ian. So I watched it. Is it for me? Not particularly, but I can say I've watched it and I know about it now.
And who's her boyfriend? It's not Tyson Fury's son, is it?
Tommy Fury.
Oh, okay. You see, I am plugged into the celebrity news. Well, I watched a new true crime documentary series which dropped recently on Netflix, Fred and Rose West, a British horror story, which is well made, but it's just, I mean, it still beggars belief that actually happened. There's sort of these serial killers who just lived in a house in Gloucester. Anyway, it's well worth a watch. Now, I would normally say we've just got time to talk about next week's offerings, Hannah, but of course you're off to Spain. Lucky you. So I will be doing a truncated episode of Bingewatch just to flag up what's worth checking out, and that will include U2 frontman and activist Bono bringing his one-man show to Apple TV+. And we're going to catch up with the girls on the grid as the motor racing docuseries F1 Academy roars onto Netflix. So I look forward to those and much more. And Hannah, of course, looks forward to her holiday. But in the meantime, listeners,
watching.
Much that once was is lost, for none now live who remember it. It began with the forging of the Great Rings. To celebrate the 300th episode of Verbal Diorama, the complete history and legacy of the film adaptations of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, including Ralph Bakshi's The Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's celebrated The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and Kenji Kamiyama's The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Listen to the entire story in your podcast app of choice every Thursday in May by subscribing to Verbal Diorama, the podcast all about the history and legacy of movies you know and movies you don't. For the time will soon come when hobbits will shape the fortunes of all.